Do you feel the warm weight of freedom on your shoulders? Or is it just another layer of conditioning you've mistaken for autonomy? From the moment you opened your eyes, unseen hands have been gently or not so gently guiding you. Your first steps, your first words, the shape of your fears, the content of your prayers. As Carl Jung warned, everyone carries a shadow. The less it is embodied in consciousness, the blacker and denser it is. Those shadows, the unsaid rules, the silent expectations, have hidden you from yourself. You have been taught to respond before you knew how to question. Pavlov's bell rings again, a notification ping, a nod from authority, a beloved saying, a God in whose name fear is sanctified. You salivate at the cue, believing you chose this reaction, but did you? Are you master of your mind or a marionette rehearsing someone else's lines? Every day feels normal, sane, even comfortable, because comfort is the sign on the cell door. You think you're in the driver's seat, but what if the pedals were installed by someone else and the steering wheel belongs to habit and culture? Psychology even has a name for this fallacy: the illusion of control, the tendency for people to overestimate their ability to control events. You clutch at that illusion like air, a natural response. Robert Greene describes it plainly. If we limit our circle of action, we can give ourselves the illusion of control. Retreat into safe choices, obey the script told to you, repeat the rituals you've seen. The less you try, the less you fail, or so it seems. In that hollow corner of passivity, you feel secure, protected from chaos, but you are chained to it. In truth, the bell is still ringing. The child in you was taught by parents, teachers, preachers, and poets. This is wrong, that is right. This brings love, that brings death. Society strapped on your shoes and drew the map on your palms. You have worn those shoes so long, you think you made them yourself. But pause. Are they comfortable or constricting? Who taught your eyes to see the world in terms of black and white? Who planted the red lights and green lights in your mind? The lullaby you slept to is the chorus that now soothes your nerves. It begins and ends the day. If the melody changes, you panic. As if the melody were your mother's voice, you say you want control, but you fear what control really means. To hold it is to expose yourself. To question it is to discover how empty the throne is, and when was the last time you truly tested your freedom. Every belief handed to you becomes a bar in the cage. Everyone around you gave you that bar, but you are the one who insists it fits. When confronted with doubt, you turn away. I have made my choices, you whisper in the dark, and the glove fits. And so the conditioning continues, its tendrils woven into your very self. Whenever anxiety rises, your knee jerks to some pattern, some phrase your parents said, some rule from school, some fear slipped in by the news. It is as if your will is made of sand, and the tide of suggestion pulls at its grains. Yet you believe you are solid rock. Here lies the cruel joke. We seek freedom and find only the comforting rhythm of chains. You think you know the path you walk, but what if the path was drawn by someone else and you were simply following footprints on a worn trail? What if every decision you made was already anticipated by the script swirling in the heads around you? Who gave you the illusion of choice, and why? In the dim light of this realization, the world suddenly feels labyrinthine, not carved by your hands, but carved by the hands of those who whispered in yours. Look up. The sky is the same sky everyone sees. But what story do you attach to it? The systems around you, schools, governments, religions, corporations, even the internet, all compete to tell you what that sky means. Each preacher, politician, or pundit wants you to paint it their color. They light a candle in your head and tell you it's the sun, and you squint, thank them for the light, and think you're gazing at daylight. Ideas are the true chains. Markets sell you identity. Ideologies sell you destiny. You wear labels like badges of honor while the names were sewn by marketing campaigns. Patriotism, consumerism, celebrity, ideology. They wage war in your mind. You pledge allegiance to a logo, sign mortgages with the promise of a home, pray in stadiums of hashtags. They gift you comfort in exchange for your unquestioning compliance. After all, fear and love, Machiavelli reminds us, are the master keys to obedience. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. Fear of chaos, fear of loneliness, hope for belonging, hope for power. These twin drives can make you pliant and predictable. Notice how easily the narrative shifts the moment the narrative suits it. A crisis is whispered on the wind, and suddenly you beg the shepherd you once suspected of betrayal to save you. A hero is minted, and you forget that heroes are just people who surrounded themselves with silence. Who you see and what you believe you feel, all pre-packaged. You like stories. You like simple answers. The world gives them to you in exchange for your vigilance. You look at a stranger and hate, love, or envy them, not because you know them, but because you've been told to see them that way. Think of social media, your electronic puppet master. It shows you the scenes it wants you to react to, a like, a share, a scroll. Each click is a small nod to its control. You think you're choosing content, but it has long ago decided what you should crave. Every tap is a small act of surrender. It shapes your desires, tells you who to envy, what new pain to dread. All the while, it claims it's just technology. In fact, it is something older, something darker, an ideology. Milgram's words could have been written for this world. Control the manner in which a man interprets his world, and you have gone a long way toward controlling his behavior. Ideology casts a wide net and weaves an invisible net around your mind. You think you are an individual? Clever question. If you are truly an individual, why do you look, act, think so much like those around you? Your beliefs have peers, your fears have clones. Society is full of echo chambers. If you dissent, you're branded irrational or weak. If you entertain a dangerous doubt, the chorus turns harsh and many. Your system tells you what to feel through subtle triggers. News anchors repeating phrases, songs drilled into repetition, sacred texts always open to page 1. Think of propaganda as love letters from power. They flatter you with belonging and purpose. And Machiavelli saw it long ago. Fear or love, it doesn't matter. Once the crowd marches, questions die. So what happens when the fabric of belief tears? When a trusted narrative is ripped away, the mind hunts for something to stitch it back together. It may bite on a conspiracy, a cult, a new gospel. The vacuum howls for comfort, and up steps a new shepherd. Control isn't lost, it just changes hands. The game remains rigged. You pay attention, and someone sells you meaning. You are born needy, and the first hand that wipes your tears is the same hand that offers to feed your loyalty. And in all of this, you feel a strange compulsion to defend the cage. When presented with facts that shatter your worldview, do you clamor to know the truth? Or do you lash out at the messenger like any prisoner protecting his bars? The system has taught you well. You reinforce your beliefs with self-evidence. If I survive, my way must be right. The system is stable, so it must be true. You add logic to your bias, finding reasons to love your chains. Look around. Who really chose this script? What if the last word hadn't been uttered in the story you inherited? And if you can see a crack in the wall, why do you hesitate to push it wider? If most of the world marches in lockstep, is it always because most of the world is right? Or because the music they dance to is the only one they've been allowed to hear? If the world is a library of lies, yourself is the librarian who enforces order. You carry within you an arsenal of authority. Do you obey that inner voice because it is wise, or because it mimics the tone of every authority you've known? Who taught your conscience, religion, parents, the state? Their commandments are etched into your psyche like graffiti. You police yourself for trespassing rules no one living can fully explain. And in the quiet, guilt creeps up and says you deserve it. That very voice might be a borrowed tape. Milgram discovered the worst truth about obedience. We forget who we are. The essence in obedience, he wrote, is that a person comes to view himself as an instrument for carrying out another's wishes, and he no longer regards himself as responsible for his actions. The puppet master moves hands and feet, but we forget our ankles can bend the other way. Have you ever done something you thought was wrong simply because the voice in your head commanded it? Have you mentally shrugged off a cruel impulse with, "They made me do it"? In that instant, you cease to be a person and become a puppet. This voice, sometimes softly, sometimes as a shout, is part of your own mind, but it can feel alien. It tells you, be good, be useful, be better. Yet it never says, be true. It sat in classrooms with you, whispered in church pews, lingered behind podiums. It is the internalization of every power that ever bowed over you. It praises when you please the standard. It punishes with doubt when you step outside. It is the nagging doubt when you take a risk, the fear of judgment that freezes your tongue. You built a wall outside to keep danger out, but the mortar between those bricks was laid inside. Perhaps you fancy yourself modern, immune to fairy tales of kings and demons, but consider, why do you follow brands, ideologies, leaders, when deep down your body screams at injustice or cruelty? Because obeying is easier than questioning. Because disobedience is a loud, violent act, and the voice taught you to whisper acquiescence. When you do defy that voice, notice how uncomfortable the body feels. Your own mind turns against you. Your heart pounds, palms sweat, thoughts spin. It is as if your shadow self cries, "No, not that." These are not just random anxieties. They are the mind's way of saying, stay in line. You walk through a minefield of your own making, counting steps to avoid disturbing the ghosts of your upbringing. Each family dinner argument left a crater. Each failed exam or rejection etched more minds. Yet you walk on autopilot, eyes forward, hoping not to step back and question anything. Because if you do, you might see the pattern for what it is, an internal prison. Is it any wonder so many find life exhausting? How could it not be, when every choice has been pre-approved by a board of unseen directors? And what is rebellion? A lonely scream into emptiness, an acknowledgement of an absent guide. There is no applause for the disobedient child. There is only guilt by association. Even the act of breaking free may be another tap of conditioning, a quick thrill that soon subsides because all you learned was how to break the rule. not why. So you continue the play. You feed the right data to your shadow so it nods off again. You check the safety box on surveys. You sing the accepted hymns, and you accuse the dissenter of madness. You welcome chains made of belief. But sometimes the whisper of doubt slips through. What if this entire symphony is just one more obedient routine? If this all sounds like a nightmare, remember, nightmares break with dawn. The illusions dissolve when light finally touches them. Jung taught that who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. In that silence, when you turn inward, you discover that freedom isn't found in new chains, but in honest emptiness. The world held you in a play. To rewrite it, you must sit alone without a script and listen. Awareness is a quiet revolution. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks or parades. It whispers, look. Look at the fear that has gripped your heart and ask, whose fear is it really? Look at the pride in your chest and ask, is this your triumph or someone else's design? Peel away each layer of should and must until you touch the raw skin of choice. It burns at first. Everyone who stares at the sun will blink, but blinking is not failure. It's a reflex that fades with practice. There is something terrifying and liberating about owning your own mind. To know, I planted my own garden, I built my own wall. Every thought, emotion, and decision, a choice and a burden of yours alone. The shadow that once ran the show must now share the stage. As Jung also reminded us, there is no light without shadow and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. Embrace the darkness you find within. It is part of you, and denying it only lets it control you from the back. The demon under the bed is often just a discarded toy. Does this sound hopeful or harsh? Maybe both. Real power is neither grand nor given. It is quietly claimed by the one who asks the hard questions. You may still live under laws, taxes, bosses, gods for a time, but the hardest chains to break are the ones you carry yourself. To break them, you must reach in the deepest recesses of your mind and light a candle there. This is the true exercise of autonomy, the courageous confrontation of self. Each small step, questioning a belief, pausing before reflexively reacting, feeling uncomfortable without a ready answer, is a revolt. It sets a record in your soul. I am the one asking. I choose to live deliberately. You may still stumble back into old patterns. You may remain afraid, but even that fear can be recognized as your own, not implanted. If you have found yourself resisting this message, that is still freedom at work. Your own mind wrestling with these ideas. Let it wrestle. You owe it to yourself to feel the friction, to hurt a little as the wound of truth scabs over. You might feel alone. Good. Solitude is the throne of true authority. No one can make you think but you. No one can hold you down but you. And in that is a strange mercy. The final choice is always quietly yours. What will you do with it?